G'day everyone and welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark. If you haven't been here before, my name is Mark. I'm a Kiwi rugby fan and I'm living here in beautiful Cancun in Mexico. Now my only goal with this channel is to try and play a small role in helping the great game of rugby to grow around the world by sharing my passion online for that game. I don't have any ambitions at all to become a YouTube careerist or anything like that. I just want to share my passion for rugby and see whether we can get more and more people connected to the game across the world. Now in today's video I'm going to be talking about some bombshell news that's just come out of New Zealand in regarding to their coaching setup, and of course this is on the eve of the New Zealand All Blacks travelling to South Africa for that two-match series in this year's Rugby Championship competition. So let's get into the video and find out what's going on in New Zealand. Okay, so I woke up here in Mexico this morning and found out that there's been a few things going on overnight in New Zealand in regards to the coaching setup of the New Zealand All Blacks. Now, if you're not too familiar with the mainstay of the coaching setup for the All Blacks, I'm going to put this photo up and just go through the protagonist with you. On the far left we have Jason Ryan, next man in is Jason Holland, Scott Robertson of course, then Scott Hansen, and then we have Leon MacDonald. Missing from this photo is a man called Tamati Allison and a few others that have now been drawn in to the All Black coaching setup. Well, overnight the news broke that Leon MacDonald has resigned as assistant coach of the New Zealand All Blacks, and a very uncomfortable press conference took place in Christchurch prior to the team leaving to go to South Africa for that two-game series against the Springboks. Now this is very interesting to read into because there's probably a lot of things going on here. Now if we look at Leon MacDonald, and if you don't know too much about him and his history, well, him and Scott Robertson actually used to be former playing partners. That's right, Leon MacDonald was a fullback, Scott Robertson of course a flanker, and these guys have spent a lot of time together over the years. They also coached together at the Crusaders. They also coached the New Zealand under-20s team and have spent, as I say, a lot of time together. So this news on a number of different angles was quite unexpected. It was believed that Leon MacDonald and Scott Robertson got on very well. They understand the game of rugby very well, but it seems that there started to be some cracks appear some time ago in the way that this All Black team and the direction in which they were going. And I find this very interesting, and if you've read my post from yesterday where I talk about the All Black perfection in search of, you understand where my thinking is a little bit around this. And now this news doesn't surprise me to see that we've got some unrest in the coaching ranks of the New Zealand All Blacks. Now of course coaches coming and going in teams is nothing unheralded when it comes to rugby teams, nations across the world. But ironically, 2 years ago we had exactly the same situation with the All Blacks before they headed off to South Africa. If you remember back then and you know about it, John Plumtree and Brad Muir left the All Black coaching team on the eve of that trip to South Africa. Then we all know what happened with Ian Foster and that tumultuous trip to South Africa where he nearly lost his job. Is the same thing going to happen to Scott Robertson? That will be very interesting to see if this breaks up the dynamic of the coaching team. Now, as you would expect, the New Zealand media has gone into eruption status in New Zealand about this because, again, as I noted yesterday in my post, rugby is the king of the world in New Zealand. So the All Black fans think the world is coming to an end because of this decision. So we're going to see a reshuffle when it comes to the coaching roles for the South African tour, and Scott Hansen and Jason Holland are going to take on the attacking duties. Now that's going to be very interesting indeed. Scott Hansen, of course, looking after the defensive issues for the All Blacks in the past, so going from defence to attack. We're going to see Tamati Allison, who was formerly the skills coach, he's going to be taking on the defensive duties. So this is going to cause a lot of turmoil within the All Black ranks. I'm not making any excuses for what's about to happen in South Africa, but this is probably a really good thing for the All Blacks. Now this is a really interesting development for me because there's obviously been some unrest in this coaching group, and now it's boiled to a head. As you know, they say too many chefs in the kitchen, and this is what happens indeed. And there was only one man that was going to win out in this, and that was the head coach, of course, Scott Robertson. So Leon MacDonald's decided to pull the parachute ripcord, get out of the team. He's probably going to get some fantastic offers now from Japan or Europe. He may even end up at the Crusaders, so watch that one. That could be one of the picks where Leon MacDonald goes in the near future. But this is a really interesting development, and I think it's really good for the All Blacks, because if they're not moving in the same direction together, then we need to start to weed out some of these people. Now, I'm not saying that Leon MacDonald was wrong. What I'm saying is that Scott Robertson obviously has a philosophy on how he wants this All Black team to go, and we're going to learn more than ever now in South Africa about Scott Robertson's philosophy for this team. Now, I've heard and read recently, and of course anything you hear or read these days is purely speculation. So I've heard and read that Scott Hansen has been responsible for selecting the 9 and 10 combinations in this All Black team. I find that to be rather weird. If you're looking at an attacking pattern for a backline, you'd want to be looking at the whole group of players that you want to put in there. Why is one person selecting 9 and 10? That's a little bit weird for me, but let's see what happens, because as you know, I've got my eye on that Damian McKenzie at number 10 jersey, and I want to see what developments happen now. Is this going to mean the All Black backline goes in a different direction? It's going to be fascinating to see what happens in South Africa with selections, and also with the way that the All Blacks play the game. And don't forget, we've got the New Zealand squad. I'm going to go through that in another video, but Harry Plummer from Auckland Blues has been named in that South African touring party for the All Blacks, so that's going to be another interesting development. So there we go. Leon MacDonald has resigned as assistant coach of the All Blacks. A lot of people are saying that because he wasn't officially the top man next to Scott Robertson, it's upset him a little bit. After all of his years of loyalty to Scott Robertson, he deserved, he feels, to be that second man in charge, and where Scott Robertson was actually using a straight line of hierarchy with these coaches. And I think he was doing that for this season to see who he felt he worked with the best and who was going to move into that true second man in charge position. And maybe that didn't fit well with Leon MacDonald. That's just my pure speculation. Happens sometimes in management groups when you get someone's ego out of joint and they're not able to handle it. But as we all know, we don't know the truth. Only Scott Robertson and Leon MacDonald know the truth about what happened here, and maybe it'll come out in someone's book in the near future. Who knows about that one? Now, as we saw with Ian Foster's tour to South Africa 2 years ago, the All Blacks are going to have to regroup now after this decision. It's going to affect a lot of people, I'm sure, within the group. Those people that were close to Leon MacDonald, had friendships with him, who related to him in terms of his philosophy around this All Blacks team. And no matter how you look at it, it's going to cause some unrest in the All Blacks team. It's going to be upon them now to come together as a group to head into that South African tour as one. And let's see if they unite around the coach, as we saw with Ian Foster and his debacle in South Africa 2 years ago. A lot of similarities going on here, although I think Scott Robertson's probably going into this tour with a better win-loss ratio than what Ian Foster had at the time. I'll have to check my details on that one. So there you go, that's the video for today. Let me know what you think about Leon MacDonald's resignation from the coaching role in the New Zealand All Blacks. Do you think this is something that is going to upset the All Blacks' performance on the field? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, the reason I make this channel is to try and play a small role in helping the great game of rugby grow around the world. Here are 5 ways that you can help me do that. I've listed them on the screen. And if you're able to interact in any of these ways, maybe some multiple ways here that I've listed, I would be very, very grateful for that. We're building a fantastic global community here on Inside Rugby with Mark. There's some brilliant comments coming in from across the world, and my yellow card and red card system is working. We've only had a couple of culprits in the last week or so since I introduced it, so that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all for being respectful in the comments, not only to me but also to the fellow contributors here on my channel. I really appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to be back again really soon with some more content. We're building up to that magnificent series in South Africa. We've also got Australia going to Argentina, let's not forget that, and I'll come back with some more videos about those games in the Rugby Championship. Until then, you stay safe, stay well wherever you are, keep enjoying your rugby from across the world, and thank you for your support here on Inside Rugby with Mark. Until next time, it's time to say adios from beautiful Cancun in Mexico. Bye for now.